Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Let's Paint. Today we're working on Stage 2 Plague, so we're talking bursters and leapers. So you only get a handful of these in your starter box, and a lot of mine are 3D printed in this case. I needed to work up a number of them for the Adepticon Big Game, so I printed a couple more squads, and these go a little bit quicker than our Stage 3 Plagues did. Um, I started off with the black prime as normal, and then I do a burgundy base coat on them just to give the skin undertone a nice, like, rich red tone. Then they get a zenithal white from above, followed by a thinned down dose of Army Painter Speed Paint Murder Scene. So any darkened magenta is really going to work for this, or even a reddish purple will give you a similar effect. With our base tone down, I switch over to Hive Dweller Purple. Again, I thin this down about 1 to 1 with the speed paint medium just to get a little thinner. And I want to apply this to the upper protrusions on the torsos of our stage twos. This is just to give a little color variation to them. It'll make them stand out a little better. It'll give that purplish tone to those bone outcroppings, and it'll help them stand out, especially when we get into the dry brushing phase. Well, we mentioned the dry brushing phase just a minute ago, so let's jump on over to that. Once everything's dry, I'm using a little pro-acryl bone to apply a dry brushing to the bony protrusions on the stage twos. This is just basically in the upper body. I don't try to go too crazy with this. You just want to be able to pronounce some of those nice details that are sticking out from those spikes and ridges all over the upper torso, maybe down in the knees. It's your model. You go as crazy as you want. Now, the fun things about bursters is that they have all these big pustules all over them, just ready to pop and spray gore and goo upon their enemies. And we got to paint those up like the biggest, grossest zits we can. So, using the same bone I used to dry brush the bone structure, I'm going to do a base coat onto the pustules all over these bursters. Pick out as many as you want, as pronounced as you want. Not every zit has to look like it's ready to burst, and you can leave some off on one, pick them out a little more on the other, and that'll add a little variation and variety to your stand overall. You better believe I Googled the grossest zits I could find just to kind of get some color reference. So I went with a orange yellow here for the next step, and you're just gonna dot this into the center of the biggest zits just to kind of have that gross looking pussy goo right at the top of the surface, just ready to out on the people. I hope that sound effect came through properly because I'm going to talk to the Foley guy, but I don't know if he can do a better one. I feel I'm known for my exhilarating content, and here is a prime example. We're going to glue these to their bases. The only thing to see here is that it did happen. So I like to stagger my arrangement a little bit so there's not just like two dudes standing side by side. I like to have them like off center on some, but that again, that's up to you. If you want all of your dudes standing the exact same way on every base, hey man, that's your army. You do you. Figures glued down. Now it is on to slathering that base with our texture paste, or however you prefer to base your models. I use a variety of pro-acryl texture paste. For my plague, I've chosen to go with the brown fine, and I just slap that on there. It does a nice job of covering the base as a color as well as providing some texture. And yeah, it's quick and easy. And once you get used to working with it and pushing it around with a crappy brush, don't use good brushes for this. Um, it's a pretty effective way, especially when you're churning out a ton of bases at once. Well, here we are at the end. Because these bases are black resin, I don't need to worry about painting the base rim, but if yours are the gray plastics with the starters, then you may want to paint that rim. Well, thank you for taking the time to watch this today. And if you could, drop a like on the video. It helps the algorithm push it out to other people who may find this content interesting or useful. I'm trying to put out a video or a short every week, so if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. But other than that, let's have a look at how these guys turned out. Thanks for watching.